This video is going to go over what's new in version 4.280. The first thing that's new is improvements to our Fibonacci tool. Here's a chart, 5-minute euro dollar. We've always been able to hit Control F to bring up our Fibonacci tool, or you can click on the T tool here and then left click on the Fibonacci tool. Left click at the bottom of the swing, hold the button in and drag it to the top. And one of the new improvements in the software is when you let go of this, it will automatically find the absolute perfect low and high. Low and high. As you can see, it automatically snapped. It also has a straight up and down vertical line, which makes it lining up to the perfect bar a lot easier. The smaller the chart, the more this becomes useful. If you let go, automatically snaps to the high of that bar. As you can see, it's one over here, snap to that bar. Now, what if you want to draw the fibs to some area that's outside of the chart? Well, you can still do that. You just have to hold down your Shift key, and when you do that, it's going to leave that point right there. Now, if I click on it and let go, without the Shift key in, it's going to snap back and use the perfect high and the perfect low. One of the reasons I did this is I do the Fibonacci analysis for our traders each night, and I do this on the weekly chart. And sometimes my weekly charts are kind of small, and I might be 5 to 25 pips off on the high or low, and this can make a pretty profound difference in what the Fibonacci retracement levels are and profit targets. So it is now to the absolute pip perfect, and that's the main reason that I put this in here. Again, Control F brings up the Fibonacci tool. You left click, you drag it, and you don't have to be right near the high anymore. You can just make sure you have the right bar, and it's selected. Right click on it to delete. Let me just show you a previous day. Let's say you want to draw the fib from here to the swing high here. And you can see it does a really good job of finding the 1.618 fib, which for the most part is the high of that next move up. And that's why we put it in there. One of the other improvements in this latest release is our FX trade signals. I have cleaned up the code with some of these signals. There are also other signals that show up now that didn't before, and some signals that were, not so good have been enhanced and or removed. Just go down to FX trade signals under Add Script, and this will put it onto the chart. It has to download quite a bit of data to know whether the trend's up or down, and then it puts the signals on the chart. One of the new signals is based on the hourly moving average, which you can see with the containment bands. If you add the containment bands, the gray line in the middle is the hourly moving average. And frequently when price is underneath the hourly and comes up to it, whether it's a few pips underneath it or right to it like this, it then starts to go back down. That usually leads to a trend, and you can see one generated right here, and it's starting to inch its way up. The hourly moving average is a wonderful place to look for sells when underneath, and when the price comes down to it, it's a good place to look for buys because usually it acts as support. You always want to use our real-time tools such as the FX Build a Trend histogram, which works only live. It shows you what the momentum is on the way down. If it's coming down with less than 80 weakness and the previous move up was incredibly strong, then it's much more likely to find support here and start to go back up. Same thing here. This move down was with a lot of weakness. The move up with very little strength. This trade is very likely to work. Doesn't mean that you're going to make 50 pips on it, but as it's coming down, if the weakness comes back to what it was before, it's very likely to go down a lot of pips. If it's going down with very little weakness, then you get out with a small 5 or 10 or sometimes 15 pip profit. That's it. In this case right here, you would have shorted it. The market's kind of going sideways. It's pretty much telling you it's not going to work. As soon as it goes over this bar, you lose 4 or 5 pips. Very easy to recover on in one good trade. This is another good place to show the fibs in action. This move from here to here. Notice how much easier it is to line the bar up. You don't even have to put it right at the high. You let go, it automatically snaps there, and 1.618 is the high of the next move up. And now you have absolutely, to the absolute perfect pip, Fibonacci swing. So it's very easy. If you don't want this level, you can hold the shift key in and it will hold it and keep it wherever you have it drawn. If I click on it again and let go, it's going to snap to the low of that bar. The last improvement we made was improvements to the daily, weekly, and monthly trend. If you go to pivot score, daily, weekly, and monthly, I believe this is better cached now, and it's also a few bugs that sometimes this came up before the last one or two symbols was done, and it was usually the same color, but it was a little bit less dark green or dark red because not all the symbols were in. Occasionally, if you have huge workspaces like I do, where you have 20, 30, 40 charts, and you have this on a bunch of charts, it would sometimes come up before that particular currencies have all been loaded, and now that's been perfected. So that's also going to improve the results of our FX trade signals, because these are based on the daily, weekly, monthly trend, where the price is in relation to the daily, weekly, monthly pivots and the containment bands and the hourly moving average, 15-minute moving average. There's a lot of code that looks into these. And these are just suggestions for trades. You want to use our currency meter, obviously, our easy 1, 2, 3 three-step Forex trading system to, one, use a currency meter to find the strongest currency. Then you wait for the buy signal, and then your entry, and you use the fib targets or trailing stop to get out. You also want to take trades that are likely to give you 2 times more profit than what your risk is. So if you're risking 6, 8, 9, 10 pips, you should have a 20 pip distance to the next resistance area. If you are buying here and the next resistance area is 20, 30, 40 pips up, it's a good trade. If the next resistance area is only 10 pips up, you pass on the trade. I've had a few emails from people that weren't quite sure how to trade with these signals. Now keep in mind, these FX trade signals are still beta. I have multiple ones that show the buys and sells because sometimes two different signals hit on the same bar. This will be cleaned up in future versions. The trend trades are triangles. The counter trend trades are circles. The colors are for internal use only, for me to identify which trade signal generated. That you can see trend trade by 1, trend trade by 1. This is a sell 9 trend trade. This is a sell 9. So there's quite a bit of different patterns that the Forex trade signals look at. There's over 20, and I need to be able to identify them. If there's a bunch of them that show up that are incorrect, I need to enhance those, improve them, or get rid of the signals that don't work. So again, this is still beta, but hopefully it should help you find some high probability trades, especially in the strongest trends.